Smart now. Are you going to get foul?
Terry puts it up. Won't go. Rebound Wade. The Miami Heat, they've done it. They win their first championship in franchise history.
The Miami Heat are once again NBA champions. LeBron James captures that elusive title he so desperately coveted.
The Spurs will not foul. Final
Welcome
seconds.
to 5 Reasons Postgame
What
Show,
a
brought to you
finish.
by the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
It's
I'm
back-to-back
Jonathan.
titles for the
Ariel,
Heat.
we got
The
Chad.
2013 NBA championship resides once again in Miami.
Welcome to the 5 Reasons Postgame Show, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Big Heat win tonight. I'm Jonathan. We got Ariel. We got Gad. How you guys feeling after this win?
Good. It's a good win.
Yeah, it was really hanging in the balance there. It took a while, but we knocked down the shots at the end. I wanted to see this team. We looked like the better team for the majority of the night, and then John Collins went absolutely crazy. But I just wanted to see them be able to pull out a win like this, and they were able to do it. And I think that shows kind of the growth of how they progressed throughout the season. Because a few weeks ago, they ended up losing this game by 12, and they won. So I was happy to see that. Good way to close that game out.
Yeah, we started off. We had a really good first half. Offensively, we were really connecting. Everything was clicking. Kendrick Nunn was on fire. We weren't really shooting the three well. Like Ariel actually tweeted it, that we weren't really shooting the ball well, but we still found a way to go into halftime with, I think, a 10-point lead. So it was a really good first half. Third quarter, we came out really flat, and they went on a big run. They got close to tying the game a couple times. And late in the fourth, that was just a grinded out game. And we just grinded it out. Everybody made the plays who had to make plays. Kendrick Nunn made a big three, closing out the fourth quarter. Tyler Hero, he came out in the fourth quarter. At the beginning of the whole game, he was pretty much just non-existent the entire game until that fourth quarter. And I think that's really just what we needed from him, was that little 2-3 minute burst where he came out and just gave us what we know Tyler Hero can do. So it was good to see him do that, and it was a great game overall. Just from a lot of players, we had a couple players in double figures. Precious had a good game. Ariel, we'll get to you. What did you see from this game that you liked?
Well, I thought early on in the first quarter that the game had started out a little bit too fast for the Heat. The pace was a little too fast. Their offense seemed a little rushed, but they slowed it down. They settled in offensively. I liked, again, every stream I feel like I'm talking about Spo, because I feel like after a somewhat poor start to the season from a coaching perspective, he's really, really turned it up, thrown in a lot of wrinkles. I think he got a little funky tonight, and he had the guys picking up full court. He threw in a 2-2-1 zone, full court, 2-3 zone. Like, I just love what he's done with the team and the looks that they're giving other teams defensively. I thought Kendrick Nunn, man, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about him, because he's just continued another, this resurgence of sorts. And since he's been back in the starting five, he's been so good and so solid. They leaned on him, and they don't win tonight without him. I thought Gabe Vincent was very impactful defensively. I liked how he played, specifically against Trae Young and picking up guys full court. What else? The Heat were moving the ball pretty well. The offensive rebounding was great. Precious chose violence tonight. We love that. John Collins wants to play for the Heat, and that's about it.
Yeah, so great game overall. Yeah, let's talk about Kendrick Nunn a little bit, because
Yes.
Kendrick Nunn was the absolute man tonight. He carried the load offensively. He was the guy that really just did it for us on the offensive end. Bam had a pretty decent offensive game. His impact was more on the offensive glass, but Kendrick Nunn was doing it all. He was finding, Bam for lobs or in great pockets. He found Precious for that poster over John Collins, which was probably the best play of the game. And it was just a really, really good game from Kendrick Nunn. We were talking about what his floor might be, and he's becoming much better of a passer, much better of a defender. So he's becoming a guy that, even if he's not scoring, he's impacting the games in other ways. And he showed that even tonight he can play with Goran, which was a big thing that we didn't know could happen. Gad, what did you see from Kendrick Nunn tonight?
He's evolved so much. Like, I have to say, in terms of what the Heat culture is and whatever, I feel like Kendrick Nunn has to be one of their proudest accomplishments right now, because he's seeing the floor fantastic. He's playing with pace. He's not afraid to hit those pull-up jumpers. He's also really comfortable spotting up. Like, he's probably the best point guard play that we've had on the Heat in quite a while. Like, I don't really consider Goran like your traditional point guard. I'm not saying he's better than Goran. Trust me, I love Goran to death. But Kendrick Nunn, what he's doing in terms of like playing the floor and just making good positive plays, I'm super happy with the way he's been playing. You have to feel good about a Nunn. Like, we've been saying he plays a lot better with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy didn't play tonight, and Nunn was our best offensive player. Like, that is a really, really big step for Nunn. I don't want to understate this at all. I understand he's playing against Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, whatever. Just to come out and really not have that crutch of Jimmy Butler to rely on and still produce at this level was very, very impressive from Nunn. So I was really happy with the way he played. I've been happy with the way he's been playing for the last few games. He looks like a legitimate contributor to a playoff team. So I'm happy, really happy with Nunn so far.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal game. Ariel, you got anything to add about Nunn? Because, I mean, there was just so much about his game that there was to love tonight.
Just love the confidence. I don't know. I think Gad hit on all of the major points with Nunn, but we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in that, inserting him into the starting five kind of puts him back in a familiar role. And Ethan has talked about this on the 5 on the Floor podcast, saying that, like, with him, people close to him had told Ethan and communicated to Ethan that with him, it's all about the confidence, and that he was going through a lot of stuff back in the bubble, and that obviously affected his play immensely. But since he's been back in the starting five, he's in a familiar role. Like I said, the confidence is back. If you're a player that gets benched, for anyone who's played any basketball, and I haven't, but this is what I've heard, anybody who's played any kind of organized basketball, like, if the coach puts you back into that role, that's a huge, huge confidence boost for a player. And you can see it. Like, he doesn't hesitate. He's, confident when he's shooting, looking for a shot, and his feel has improved dramatically, I find, this season. He knows when to shoot. He knows, at least he knows better when to shoot, when to look for guys. The passing has gotten better. His vision on the court, he knows how to kind of, he makes entry passes that he never made them last season, never. Right? And so he's really, really improved in a variety of areas of his game, defensively as well. I've never been like the biggest Kendrick Nunn guy. I kind of feel like the player archetype is not ideal, at least in a starting role. But he's proven me wrong, become more efficient, become smarter, and it's kind of hard not to root for him. It's just such a good story, like Gad had touched on.
I just want to touch on one thing. Ricky's in the comments talking about the New York Knicks. Listen, congrats. You're 18-17. You haven't been missing Jimmy Butler for X amount of games. You haven't missed Goran Dragic. Shut up about the Knicks. We're celebrating the Heat tonight. So just keep all that Knicks positivity in like a Knicks group chat or something, because no one cares about the Knicks tonight. We care about the Heat going and winning this game against the Hawks. Even when things got ugly, we're happy about that. Not feeling the Knicks. What was that?
Is that Brian?
Listen. I just want to hop in real quick to say 6 straight, baby.
Yes, sir.
That is fantastic. Like who was the dude on Hot Ones that said, I didn't expect to be in this position, and yet here we are. I think this is amazing. This is beautiful. I'm just so happy. Even without Jimmy Butler, we still took the W against what I thought was going to be a playoff team this year. And I'm just, we're in a great spot going into the break. We have 2 weeks. I think that even if they don't make a move, that gives guys time to rest and kind of reset. And I think we're going to make an even stronger push, in the second half of the season. I just think this is fantastic. I'm just
right now.
What's up?
I feel like it sounds like you're running. Are you like?
No, I'm outside at the drive-in.
We're driving. Very important.
No, it just sounds like you're going like this while you're talking. I mean,
I'm walking around. I just wanted to hop in real quick to show some positivity to the squad. Shout out a good win, and you guys are doing fantastic. So, cheers.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, cheers. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
Take it easy. Appreciate the extra positivity. One thing I want to finish up with Nunn is we've been noticing that him and Bam have a certain chemistry together now. They've been playing together for a good time, and Nunn is learning how to find Bam on those pick and rolls, on those pick and pops. He's knowing where Bam is going to be, and it goes vice versa as well, because Bam is knowing where Nunn is going to be. If he's getting an offensive rebound, he's looking out for Nunn. We're having some really good chemistry with those two guys, so it's really exciting to see this starting lineup be so impactful, even though we thought the problem was that they scouted it and they just know everything that's happening. No, Kendrick Nunn is a real player now. His chemistry with his team is real. His chemistry with the bigs are real, and it's really fun to see. Let's get into Bam a little bit, because Bam, wasn't the most aggressive player tonight, but his rebounding and his energy just all night, he left his imprints over the game. Well, Gab, what did you see from Bam Adebayo tonight?
Just once again, like same thing he did in the Utah game, just dominating the glass, just really being an absolute force down there. And even if other players weren't boxing out, he was just really able to kind of get exactly what he needed to do defensively. And he was putting on a masterclass in the first half. Like he swatted John Collins, he was blocking people, he was changing shots, doing a really good job. I was happy with the way Bam played. Obviously, I think there's a little bit more to be desired when he could probably take these guys off the dribble a little bit, maybe hit him with a jab step and kind of threaten them, because we know he's more athletic than Capella and he's a better offensive player than Collins is a defensive player. But I'm not going to complain about Bam. He was icing his knee in the second quarter. He played really, really good. I mean, he's an all-star. We got an all-star performance, I think, or he's all-star. We all think he's an all-star. I think we got an all-star type performance from Bam, and I was happy with the way he played. Like, we won the game, and Bam was a big reason for that. So I appreciate him for that.
Yeah, he came out super aggressive. That block was just nasty. Probably going to be the ugly for tomorrow. Came out. He had a great impact on the game, like you said. Look at his stat line: 16 points, 13 rebounds, including 5 offensive rebounds, 5 rebounds, 4 for 5 from the free throw line, 6 or 12 shooting 50%, 3 blocks. So he just stuffed the stat sheet, and like you said, man, he's an all-star. Let's get to our other big, because Precious came in.
Yes.
You guys have the stat sheet in front of you. Don't look at it real quick. I want to ask you, how many minutes you guys think Precious played tonight?
I'm gonna go with. I feel like Bam played like 35, so I'm gonna go with 13 for Precious.
I was gonna say like 18.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
It felt like more.
It felt
Man
like
makes
more.
an impact like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was he just had such an impact on his game. He took that benching personally, and like Ariel said, he came out. He chose violence tonight. Only the violent will survive. So he definitely survived. He had that incredible recovery against Rajon Rondo where he bit on the fake and he still was able to block the shot. Ariel, what did you see from Precious tonight?
I love it. I feel like that was probably his best game as a pro. Just like you said, man, 13, what was it? 13, 12 minutes? 12 minutes. Yeah.
12 minutes.
Having 12 minutes, like the impact that he had, 14 points, 7 boards, 4 offensive rebounds. I felt like he had like 8 offensive rebounds at least, because they felt impactful, right? Like they were, he kept possessions alive. He just brought such energy. I loved his defense tonight. I loved his, his rolling in the pick and roll. Like he just really had a solid all around game. Very few, if any, mental mistakes on the court that we've seen from time to time with him. That was probably his best game as a pro. And I don't know what else to say. That was a really, really good game. I'm very encouraged. We've been saying how, like he could benefit, or he could have benefited greatly from a summer league and maybe a G League possibility for him. But they don't really have very many, better options on the roster. He's the third big right now. And so you kind of have to play him. And that was an encouraging performance for him. And I love the emotion that he showed. There was one play where I think he got an and one. I think it was in the second half. I might be wrong, but he, went behind the stanchion and slapped on whatever it was, like on the side of behind the basket, and, let out a scream. And I love to see that emotion from him. I feel like he plays better when he's a little riled up. And that was his best game of the season so far in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I think Alex was at the game, and he tweeted out that the slap was loud as hell, and you can hear it in the whole arena. So, I mean, Alex can hear it. That was real emotion. He has no resent for his arm, but hopefully we don't have an Amari Stoudemire thing where he punches, a fire hydrant or something like that. But,
yeah.
Nah, we want that type of energy. That's what we want.
Yeah, 100%. We need that energy. he brought it off the bench. Only 12 minutes, but 14 points, 7 rebounds. I think one of the best parts, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. 6 of 7. He was shooting.
Really? 6 of 7? That honestly, maybe I just wasn't watching closely enough, but I felt like he missed at least 2. That's crazy. 6 of 7 is really impressive.
And that's what you want, because teams are just going to hack him when they get down low. So he can make that jump. I mean, Bam made that jump before. I think he was in the low 70s. Now he's mid to high 80s. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure Precious can pick up that free throw percentage. And Crotty was talking about it and saying that maybe he just needs to bend his knees a little bit more. And looking at it, he was standing pretty straight, just using all arms. So maybe that can be something that he could apply to that. By the way, were you guys watching the Heat broadcast on this one?
Yep.
Yeah, I had it on mute for a little bit. I was taking a quiz.
Did Crotty call it he needs to bend his knees more type situation, or is that...
Yeah, that's what Crotty said. But he also, when when Precious dunked the ball, he did like the sound of a spaceship taking off, like the sound of a rocket. I was like, "What is Crotty doing?" And Eric Reed was like, "Even sound effects." So that was a good moment as well.
Show of hands, real quick. Sorry, buddy. Who here misses Coach Tony?
Oh,
everybody. Literally every single
I just want to make sure we were on the same page on that. Crotty, I mean, good guy, experience. He's got insight, played in the league, all of that, but
nobody's coached Tony Fiorentino. Nobody. That man, I grew up with watching him broadcast the games. That man's a GOAT.
He's the GOAT too, because he'll interact with you on Twitter and everything.
Yeah, he'll respond to Heat Twitter too, which is the dopest part. Like I'm a really big fan of Coach Tony, but I do want to talk about Precious. His energy is just infectious. Like when they came in at the end of the first quarter, it was like Gabe Vincent, KZ, Nunn, Precious, and
Hero, I think.
Tyler, yeah.
Was it Hero?
Yeah.
Energy. Like they were just outworking the Hawks. And you like to see that from a group of ragtag guys, but specifically from Precious, what I really, really liked is the fact that last game he didn't even play. His minutes have been dwindling pretty often. It's very inconsistent that he gets in the game. And he looked like a guy that was angry that he hadn't been playing minutes. And he only played, 12 minutes? But, I mean, that's equivalent to one quarter, and he made a really big impact. I like giving Precious, 12 to 18 minutes a game. I just think the energy that he brings is so infectious that even if it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, he's playing hard. So as long as he's not making those rookie mistakes every now and again, where sometimes he'll just try to dribble too much or he'll just make a bad pass or, he'll have a bad rotation. If he learns to cut down on those a little bit, he's a really, really good complementary player at times. And I think the more he plays, the better he'll be able to be. And that energy is invaluable, even to a playoff team. I think Precious can end up being a pretty decent part of what this bench does.
I feel like the comments want to know what we think of Yeshus, by the way. Shout out Eric Reed.
No.
What do you guys think of Yeshus?
Nah, not at all.
Me neither. Okay, moving on.
That's not going to happen. Yeah, no. We'll keep the puns to a minimum on that broadcast, please. Just cut and dry, play-by-play. Eric Reed with some sound effects.
I miss the kabooms. I miss the babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fiorentino was the guy, man. He was really the go of the thing. But let's get to that youth movement a little bit. I was really surprised that Spo threw that lineup out there. But he did that lineup, and he also threw a different defensive plan. I think they were playing three-quarter court. Mm-hmm. And what really impressed me was how coherent that group was in a full court press. They did have one slip up where they let Gallinari get that dunk, but other than that, that full court was effective. We were shaving time off the clock. The most impactful guy when we went to full court was Gabe Vincent.
Oh yeah,
and Gabe Vincent has a higher peak now than Rajon Rondo has in his whole career, and those couple minutes that Gabe Vincent has had better than anything Rajon Rondo did.
Nah, I don't know about that. Rondo tore us up in the finals, but Gabe Vincent. Give him his credit.
Yeah, man.
That's his best game as a pro, too, I think. Maybe save for, the first game he got in. I think it was against Brooklyn, maybe, or Philly. I don't remember. It was one of those. I think it was Philly.
Philly.
His first game there where he got, any kind of extended run, he was really good. But other than that, this was probably his best game as a pro since then. And what's funny is, you look at the stat sheet, 7 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block somehow. Not particularly, nothing eye-popping, but the defense.
How many minutes though?
17. But the defense, the picking up full court, getting into Trae Young's grill, playing the passing lanes, the energy he brought. I thought he was really, really impactful. And what you were saying, Gad, with regards to that lineup that they threw out in the first quarter, I tweeted out when that lineup hit the floor, this kind of feels like a lineup that I should be scared of as a Heat fan, but I'm kind of not. And it played out really well for the Heat. They gained a little bit of separation at that point. That lineup, in my view, the reason for that being that's a bunch of guys that are playing for their spot in the rotation, right? Save for Hero and who's the other starter that was in there with them? I don't know, but
nobody.
Precious. Yeah.
Whoever.
Yeah, I think they started Goran.
Right. Okay. But I think what was the lineup? It was Nunn.
I think it was Nunn,
KZ, Vincent,
Hero, Precious, and KZ.
Yeah. Right, so Precious, KZ, and Vincent are all kind of playing for their spot in the rotation consistently, and that kind of remains to be seen if that's going to be the case if the Heat ever get a full healthy roster back. But they played like they were playing for their spot in the rotation. They played hard. They played connected. I love the defense again. I kind of expected the offense to look like crap with those guys out there, but it didn't. Like, they played really, really well together. I think that was extremely encouraging and was a crucial part of the game, with regards to the Heat being able to take this one home.
Yeah, having that youth group, and it's always about having that pipeline filled up. We've always been developing these young guys. So if one or two of these guys can just become rotation players, at least we can flip them to a chip. And I want to shout out to She Have Everything. What do you guys think about all this Depot news? Let's get into that a little bit. What do we saw that Oladipo turned down the Rockets extension, thinking that he might want to sign a team. It was the Heat, and who was the other team?
The Knicks.
The Knicks.
The Knicks are interested too.
Right, and I would hope the Knicks give him a 4-year, 5-year max deal, because that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great for them.
But I think Oladipo is a guy that can definitely raise the ceiling on this team. If he's somebody you want to make a trade to, he probably would have to give us somebody valuable. But he's a guy that can probably make this team into a finals team if we only have to give up one of the two with Hero or Duncan.
You're not putting Hero in an Oladipo deal.
Yeah, Hero's not going on that deal.
You're probably not putting Duncan in the deal either, I don't think, based on what we know about the Heat just loving Duncan, and I view it as pretty unlikely. I feel like the best, because the Rockets know that the word is out now that he's turned down an extension. There's a very strong likelihood that he's going to walk in the offseason, and so they've lost a considerable amount of leverage with regards to what they can get back in a trade. And so I don't think you've got to put any of your primetime assets on the table to get Oladipo. I think maybe at the most it might cost Kendrick Nunn plus salary filler. The question is, would you rather pay Oladipo 25 per for the next 3 to 4 years, give or take a couple million? I'm not sure exactly what his market price is going to be. Or would you rather pay Kendrick Nunn, say 10 to 14, depending on his play the rest of the season?
I mean, probably Kendrick Nunn, because you get more bang for your buck.
Really,
if you continue, if you're getting from let's say you get a 4-year $10 million, 4-year $40 million deal. That's something, and he continues this consistent type of play, showing decent defense, showing the ability to move the ball. I really want to see him. If he's able to move the ball all season, that's a deal I 100% give him. You know what I mean? Because if he's able to do that, for sure his floor is up. We don't have to worry about him not scoring. If he's not scoring, he's still a magnet of the game. So let me see him continue to move the ball, continue to play decent defense, and give us some good, decent scoring games. If he does that, I feel like probably it's better to keep Kendrick Nunn. You know what I mean? But if we do or if we don't, that's all up in the air. It's always about trying to get that star player. Another star player tonight who balled out was John Collins. He looked like a guy that you might want to give up somebody for. What do you guys think about John Collins? Gab, what do you think about him? What do you think about him tonight?
John Collins is so much of what this team needs. It is legitimately unbelievable. Like, you look at a guy that, yes, he can hit the spot up corner three. He can also take a dribble, get his own mid-range. He can take a mismatch, bully him in the post a little bit, and get a little like right hook shot to go in. Like, that's really all you really need from this team. And my favorite thing about Collins is I think he'd be a great compliment to Bam, because I think Bam is a better player, but Collins is aggressive and he wants to give you 20 and a quarter. Like, he will take those shots if you give it to him. Unlike what we've seen from Bam. I mean, Jimmy has those moments, obviously, when he decides to be finals Jimmy, and then we're not going to lose those games. But Collins is a guy that I think would be really valuable for the Heat. I'd open up the checkbook to pay him in the offseason. I don't really think the Hawks are going to trade him. But, I mean, he's from South Florida. I personally watched him play. His high school was rivals with my high school when we were both in high school. I was a little younger, but, I mean, I watched Collins play probably like 6 times in person in high school, and he's always been that guy that just wants to aggressively body someone. He just wants to dunk the ball, like get the highlight play. I'm a really, really big fan of John Collins' game. I think he'd be a really, really good third option to go to, or third/fourth option. You like Hero and Collins can kind of switch every other night next to Jimmy and Bam. So if we can get them in the off, or if we can get him in the offseason, sign me up. I don't think he's going to get traded, though. I don't see that happening, honestly.
I think he might, though, because, there's been reports. We don't know anything for sure, but there's been reports that, like, the Hawks front office is not necessarily in love with him. And, there's been also we've heard that they're willing to at least listen on offers for him. We've heard as much as there's at least an asking price. So that tells us that they're, potentially open for business. And so, they've invested quite a bit in their front court. They've got, Capella. They paid Gallinari for some reason. They've got
Gallinari sucks.
Yeah, he sucks.
He can't stay healthy against the Celtics the other night. He is still not a very good NBA player. Kelly Olynyk looks more athletic than him, which is crazy. Kelly Olynyk's not the most athletic person.
I can't get with you on that one, but I like where you're going with it. But I think
okay, I'm gonna try to pull up the game. There was one possession where Gallo was running back on defense, and KO was running right behind him, and KO actually beat him to get back on offense. That's all I want to say. I'm so happy we did not end up paying Gallinari. I just really do not like him as a player at all. But Adam, welcome to the stream.
Second best win of the season, 5 seed. I think I'm impressed. Yeah, second best. I'm impressed. I think they'll be the 4 seed by All-Star break. Nice show, guys.
Don't tell Ricky.
Classic clutch.
Appreciate it. So a couple guys I want to shout out real quick. SRT Dre saying he's keeping Nunn over Hero, and Clutch actually donated $1.99 saying don't get Clutch on the show, which is funny. But let's get into this comment. Keeping Hero or Nunn over Hero. If you have to give up Hero in a Collins trade, right?
No.
And you keep Nunn, and Nunn's playing the way he is, what do you guys think about that? Do you keep him over Nunn, or keep Nunn over Hero?
You do everything in your power to get a deal done without having to give up Tyler Hero. If it costs Tyler Hero, I don't think that's the level of player that the Heat cash in that trade asset for. So no.
What do you think, Ed?
I don't even want to entertain anything trade related because at this point it's such an exhausted topic for me. I'm just happy this team's on a 6-game win streak. Nunn is playing well. Hero turned it on in the fourth quarter. We really needed him to hit those shots, and he did that. I was happy with that. We need to see a little bit more from Duncan, but he's obviously very reliant on Jimmy Butler getting him some good shots. But I don't really want to entertain trade talks that much because, at the end of the day, I'm just going to let the Heat do what they do. I'm probably going to be wrong on every single trade suggestion that I make anyways. So I'm just going to keep enjoying this win streak for as long as we have it. Good win against the Hawks. Great wins in the last 6 games. This team is just making me really, really happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, with 6 straight wins, you can't be happy. Go ahead, Ariel.
No, I was just going to say, we've talked about this a bunch on post-game shows. I know I've raised the point that, you can't let a strong stretch of play make you feel like, the roster doesn't need upgrades and that you don't need to make moves because we've seen that the roster does have holes. I don't think you can go into the playoffs with Kelly Olynyk starting at the 4. I know that all the calculator boys on Twitter are going to come after me. That's fine. I like stats as well. But the eye test tells me that he's not necessarily perfectly suited to be a starting 4 and definitely not in the playoffs because I feel like his lack of switchability and, just his hot and cold shooting nature can come back and probably will come back to haunt you in the playoffs. And so if you can get an upgrade at the 4 or an upgrade at, defensively at guard, whatever it is, a guy like John Collins would help a lot. He's not a particularly great defender, but he's a lot better offensively than Kelly Olynyk. He fits very nicely next to Bam. I think Kelly is more suited for a bench role, so everyone don't come after me because that's a hot topic on Twitter right now, but I don't think that you should just, I'm with you. I'm very happy for the team. I love the way they're playing.
No, I agree with you here.
You got to make moves, though, still.
They still have to get better. Trade. They definitely still need a trade. And that trade, everyone wants to talk about the guards, whatever. I was kind of in that camp earlier in the season. I do not want Kelly Olynyk getting more than 15 minutes on this team in the playoffs.
I'm with you.
We didn't have that last year, and this team was really, really good without him getting extended minutes. We need that switchable athletic 4/wing that can just make plays and kind of do what we need to do. Just be a complimentary guy because Kelly Olynyk, I don't care what net rating says. I don't care what all this stuff says. Watch him play in high leverage situations. He honestly folds very, very often. So I am not a big fan of giving Kelly a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
Keep him off the bench. He can be a valuable player in the regular season for us. If we don't trade him, keep him off the bench. But I just don't think he's someone that should play. I don't ever want to see him play 20 minutes in a playoff game unless we're losing that series.
He's just too hot and cold. He's not somebody you want to have to rely on for 25 to 35 minutes a night, especially not in the playoffs. If you're going up against the Bucks or the Celtics or the Sixers or whoever it is, you can't play the style of defense that you were most successful with last season in the bubble where you were able to mostly switch almost everything on the court because you had a switchable 4 like Jay Crowder in that starting 5. And if you look at the guys that the Heat reportedly have interest in, it supports that idea that they want to get back to that style of play, right? They're looking at PJ Tucker, Rudy Gay, Thad Young. The Rudy Gay and Thad Young are not like great defenders, but they're serviceable, and they would be better than Kelly Olynyk in that role. They would allow them, the Heat, to get back to that style a little bit more, where they can switch everything across the court, and that lets Bam switch out to the perimeter, and there isn't a massive mismatch down low every single time. And so that's why they're looking at guys like that.
And we can't have Jimmy being the guy that's always posting down low and battling, trying to take, whoever the center is, when Bam's switching off to those guards or switching off to the top of the key, usually is Jimmy in the bottom trying to battle. And we saw that he's out tonight. We saw Bam was icing his knee. I agree with you, Gad. You mentioned a couple, post-game shows ago that it's probably better that this team doesn't have to go to the All-Star, because now these guys are going to get a little bit more rested, and they're going to come out of the break. We have a pretty soft schedule, and we could have some guys coming back. We still have Avery in the tool shed waiting to come back, so he can come back, give us a little bit of a defensive help, just whenever we need that impact. But now we have something going for us. 6 games in a row. We talked about maybe going, 3-2 over the last 5 games, but we've gone undefeated so far. What do you guys think that the rest of this break before All-Star break's going to go? Do you guys think you finish 2-0?
I don't think Jimmy comes back before the All-Star. I don't see, it's 2 games, maybe if he's really feeling healthy, but I think it would be really good to give him a nice, 2 whole weeks off. So I don't think Jimmy comes back. We do play the Hawks again, and I don't expect Duncan to play this poorly. I don't expect Trae Young to play that poorly either. So it's going to be an interesting game. If they don't have Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter yet, then I still think the Heat are able to win that game. I don't think we played perfect by any stretch of the imagination today, but we did play solid. We could still play better, though. I think the Pelicans game could be tough without a guy like Jimmy, but even then, you could probably shoot the light side of that team because they give up 3-point shots very easily, and then you're looking at a really good game. So, I'm confident that they can win either one of these 2 games, but at this point, that 6-game win streak buys you the cushion that even if you drop 1 or 2 of these next 2 games, obviously you don't want to, but you at least you're still confident about this team going into the break.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys noticed I was frowning a little bit. I wasn't frowning at you, Gad. I think you made great points. I just saw a comment that said that Hero is a bust, guys. Cut it out. Come on, man.
Oh, no.
The guy went 13th overall in the draft, and he's averaging 17 a game in his second season. He's shooting
37 in a playoff game?
Come on, man. Y'all are crazy. We're way too prisoner of the moment around here, man. The guy is a really good young player. He's got a pretty high skill level. We don't know what he's going to be in a few years. And if you're not cashing him in for, a superstar type trade or whatever, that's a pretty solid, hit in the draft at 13, regardless of whether or not you make that trade. It's still a really good hit in the draft. But anyways, sorry. With regards to your question, Jonathan, I think it's tough to win back-to-back games in these home-and-home series. I don't know. I don't have the stat in front of me, but the back-to-back games against the same team, whether it's, home and road or home and home, road, whatever, I don't think teams are often sweeping both. I do think that the Hawks present some matchup problems for the Heat, specifically at point guard, although Nunn has definitely gotten better, and so that limits that to some extent. Apparently, Gabe Vincent is a stopper, so that helps too. If the Heat don't get Jimmy back, like Gad is theorizing, which I agree with as well, I don't know what the extent of the injury is, but it's more likely in my mind that they would hold him out through the All-Star break. I think they'll go 1-1. I don't know which game they're going to win. I would lean maybe, I guess if I have to make a prediction, you lose the Hawks game and then you close it out with a W at New Orleans, and then you go into the All-Star break at 500, come out of the All-Star break, and you've got the second easiest strength of schedule remaining in the NBA, and that's where you can make a push, get up to 4th or 3rd in the East by the end of the season maybe.
Yeah, I think 4th and 3rd is probably – 4th probably easily, but 3rd is probably our ceiling of what we can go as far as who we're going to match up with in the first round. And, looking at the standings right now, where are we?
It's going to change so much, though.
Yeah, so we're a half game out of the 4th. It is going to change a lot. But still, we're really close to just taking and holding that spot right now. You know what I mean? 2 games are now. We can go into the All-Star break at the 4 seed. comfortably, and that's going to be an easy matchup for us. If we play the Knicks or if we play Toronto, if we play Boston, I feel like that's pretty easy series that we can handle overall.
Well, if they play the Knicks, that's a sweep in the first round. Ricky, get on here.
Yeah, that's easily a sweep. Oh, no, they're going to win one game, and then they're going to have confetti.
You're right.
The Knicks get game one, probably.
2012 was that?
Yeah, that was 2012. They got one win, and they put out confetti like they won the championships. Yeah. Poverty franchise. That's what the Knicks are. I want to add to your point, Ariel, about Tyler Hero. What makes you think he's a bust from this game? 14 points, 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep, 4 from 4 from the line, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. He had that stretch in the fourth quarter that we lose if he doesn't hit all those shots. I don't know who in the comments said that he's a bust.
It was Nunn just up on the screen.
Yeah.
That's just trolls, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I can't really watch Hero and believe he's a bust. Is his ceiling maybe overrated by Heat fans a little bit? Potentially. Like, yeah, maybe is he going to be a top 5 player? Maybe not. But he's a really good player, and he's growing into what he's going to end up becoming in the NFL. What am I saying? And he's like a microwave scorer. I mean, you saw it tonight. He can just spark at any given moment and give you 10 points in 5 possessions really quick. Boom, boom, boom. And you're just going to have to mask ways to keep him from really getting targeted defensively, which I thought Spo did a fantastic job in the playoffs. But obviously he has not really been able to do that as much in the regular season, which is maybe looking like Heroes on an island a little bit more often than not. We did have that one donation. I don't know if you were going to get to that, Jonathan.
I didn't see that one. You can go ahead and read it, bro.
Yeah, it's from HM. Thank you for the donation. I really wish Riley would sell high on Robinson and Hero. Jimmy's window closes in another 2, maybe 3 years. None showing life helps offensively. I do agree that we want to maximize the next 3 years with Jimmy Butler. I've never been opposed to trading Duncan Robinson if you get the right value in return. I don't think Tyler Hero is going to be on the table during this season just because I don't see many types of players that could maybe warrant a Hero being available as well. If something like that's going to happen, it's in the offseason. I have no crystal ball as to when that will be. We've been waiting on Beal to request a trade to Miami for, 3 years now? This is not happening. So if another whale becomes available, I would expect Riley to try to be able to maximize that with whatever piece is necessary. But I don't necessarily think you have to sell high on Hero. If a really good offer, a really good player comes in return for Duncan, then absolutely I would be willing to trade him. But, I mean, he's probably going to light it up on Tuesday. So I'm not too concerned with Duncan. He's going to have streaky nights, especially without Jimmy Butler passing the ball. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's just how Duncan is. You know, he's not going to kill every single game, but the games he kills, he shows his impact and he shows it heavy. You know, not a great game tonight, like you said. He relies on Jimmy. So what are you going to do? He's not going to have a great game every single game. But overall, great win tonight. You know, we showed a lot of grittiness. We lost the lead and we were able to take it back and we were able to win commandingly. I loved what Coach Spo did defensively. He was just a full court, doing everything, 2-3 zones, 3-2 zones, 2-2-1s, every single thing you could think of. He even probably put out a box and one. But it was interesting to see what he did tonight. A great game from Kendrick Nunn. Great game from, honestly, a lot of the team. Everybody on the team played well. Anything else you guys have to add before we close this out?
I did want to point out Iguodala, for some reason, every time we're in a high leverage shot, he's like the anti-Kelly, right? Like every time it's a high leverage possession, high leverage shot, you're like, fuck, we need something to go to. Iguodala, for some reason, if he's not at the top of the key, if it's like the
corner,
yeah,
he is legitimately butter. We
call that a butter situation.
No, we're not doing that. But I'm really happy with the way that Iguodala has been able to bounce back. He had a few rough games earlier in the year, but I mean, he's just so valuable off the bench, and I think he's going to be such a big asset come playoff time. I'm really happy with the way Iguodala has been playing. Like, I know we, considering what he had been doing, overpaid him like $15 million a year for 2 years, an extension for what looked to be like no reason, but he's playing great, and he's one of the reasons why we're winning a lot of these games. He's hitting some tough shots, so I'm happy with Iguodala in specific. And he had 2 dunks tonight?
Yeah.
The clock a little bit?
Almost had 3.
I love Iguodala dunks.
Oh, yeah. He had that one where he got rim stuffed, right?
I think it was in the first quarter he went for the putback, and he just he didn't put it in. And it was wasn't the same Iguodala from 7 years ago, but he redeemed himself. He had 2 dunks, one off of that steal from Gabe Vincent where he picked Rajon Rondo's pocket.
That was so nice.
Popped it up. That was
so nice.
Dude, Gabe Vincent showing out. Fun game tonight, man. Fun game tonight.
Do we pick up Iggy's option next year? I think it depends on what he wants to do. I don't know if like how many years he wants to keep playing, but if he doesn't get his option picked up, but he wants to stay in Miami, I would assume they still bring him back. I think $15 million this year, although he's maybe playing up to that contract a little bit recently. I don't know if he is going to require that next year to keep him on the team. I think Miami's treated him right, and they're probably going to have some good karma or good relationship with him going into next year's free agency if they decline that option.
So I'm speculating here. I don't have any inside info on this, obviously, but I think that it's more than likely that when that trade was made where they signed him to an extension, it was with the agreed upon, the idea there was that the option probably wouldn't be picked up, and that the reason that there was an option in there is that so they could use that contract in a trade if need be. But I think he's become, like you said, Gad, more valuable than just a salary matching contract for a trade at this point. I still don't think they would pick up the option because it would absolutely nuke their cap space for next summer. I think they're projected to have somewhere in the mid 20s. It was 25 or 26 million. I might be off by $1 million or $2 million there. But if they were to pick up the option, you wouldn't be able to use that cap space. And so more than likely, I would expect them to decline the option. And then if he wants to come back, it's a veteran minimum type deal, or maybe he goes on like a retirement tour with the Warriors or something. Yeah. I don't know, but I would be pretty surprised if they picked up that option.
I think one thing the front office has done, maybe not with the Myers Leonard and Mo Harkless, I don't necessarily agree with those contracts and the way they've gone, but I think with Iguodala and Goran in specific, they've built up some really goodwill of treating their players correctly. And in turn, I think that's going to benefit them next year, where maybe you add a high-level free agent like a John Collins, and then you still have Goran and Iggy off the bench at a very, very cheap cost. And maybe we're overpaying them this year. They're getting, $35 million combined this year.
Yep.
Although the way Goran played the other night, it's honestly worth it too.
Yeah.
But just building up that goodwill, I think could end up paying off in the long run. It's going to be interesting if it does. But right now, I'm happy with both of those veterans, like Goran and Iggy. I'm really, really happy with them. And 16 win streak. Can't complain. There's zero complaints on my end.
Any closing thoughts, Ariel?
Real quick, not really on the game, but real quick, everybody wish our producer Manny Chang a happy birthday. It's his birthday
It's
tonight.
his birthday today?
Hey, happy birthday,
I think
Manny.
so, yeah. That's what he said in the comments.
Manny.
Happy birthday, Manny.
Thank you for producing. We can't wait to have you back whenever that may be.
Hey, hopefully he's enjoying that birthday. Gad, you got anything to close out with, bro?
Listen, I'm happy with the production from the young guys. Precious, I was super, super happy watching that. He got me hyped, just having some good moments today. Gabe Vincent, once again, he's showing his worth. We haven't seen Strus in a few games, and I'm fine with it, honestly, because Gabe Vincent has really played well, so that's cool. And let's see, what else? We saw KZ for a little bit. That was cool, I guess. He's really athletic. He was like pushing the ball up the floor in one possession.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time for him. But eventually, I still think we can have a pretty okay rotational player there. See what he ends up turning into. Tyler Hero is happy that he improved in the second half. He kind of knocked that rust off a little bit. But one thing I do want to ask you guys, and this is just kind of my takeaway of what I've seen over the last few games. I think Hero is best suited to be a guy that's like 1, 2, maybe 3 dribbles, and the shot goes up or it's out of his hands.
Yep.
Like I think when Hero starts to do that dribbling at the top of the key, and he can have some good reads, but I don't think he's there yet to the point where he should have the green light to just dribble every single play. I think I prefer a supplementary ball handler, and Hero kind of being that guy that just catches it, shot fake, 1 dribble, pull up mid-range, 2 dribbles to the rim, or like 3 dribbles, dump off, something like that. I think once he learns how to differentiate that a little bit and I feel like he picks what he's going to do before he even actually does it. I would like to see Hero take that development next. Just kind of, it's really hard to articulate it right now.
No, I get totally what you're getting at. The thing with that is it's number one, it's one of those things that just kind of comes with experience. As his feel for the game improves, he'll figure out better when to attack, how to attack, and what kind of actions he's most successful in. He's even talked about it this season in that, I think he said something to the effect of like, when guys play drop against me, like I'm looking for that pull-up jumper, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he's maturing as a player and he's learning better when and where he's most effective. But you're right. And the reason that, he's best at, keeping it to under 1 or 2, 3 dribbles and then the shot goes up is because He's not that quick, and he doesn't gain separation really, really effectively because his handle's not great either. And so to me, that makes him more of like not a number one scoring option type guy, but a really, really high level. He projects as a really high level supplementary scorer, which is extremely like valuable. He could, project as a really good player still and not necessarily be a 30 a game all-star, perennial all-star type of player. We don't really know yet, but you're right. And I think that what you were harping on, that comes with experience. He'll figure that out.
Feel for the game is definitely the word that I was looking for. Kind of what you've seen from Nunn, that feel for the game really improving over the last few games is just what I want to see. I want to see that be Hero's next step. And then I think we're going to have a player that is probably going to be getting like 18 to 20 points a game. Like he's
at 17 now. So, I mean, like he's right.
Okay,
he's almost there. Yeah,
he's almost there.
I forgot he was at 17.
Yeah.
Take that up to like 22, maybe even 24, like for long in this league. It's just, there's little things that I think he can improve on, and he'll get there. Like he's first game back today. He looked really good in the second half. I was happy with the way he played. Definitely going to be really valuable off the bench for us. Who's paying the bills today? Jonathan, is that you?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, so great win tonight overall. Six in a row, right? Yeah, 6 in a row.
Yep.
Good game overall. So let's get paying the bills. So obviously, first sponsor we got Seltzer Mayberg Law Firm. They've always been with us. Getting to the Tropical Bay IPA, the Biscayne Bay Brewing. Make sure you go to BiscayneBayBrewing.com. Find everything. Get all your beer. Find all your local beer. They got the Marlins Lager, the Tropical Bay IPA. A lot of good beer down there. You got Prize Picks. They're going to double your donation up to $100. And with Prize Pick, it's really easy to play fantasy. Instead of trying to figure out, the over, the under, all these things, these weird numbers that you don't know what the hell they're talking about, just go look, do individual stats. If a guy's going to score over 15 points, just pick over. If you think a guy's going to score under 15 points, pick under. Do that for 4 or 5 people. You can flex it. So even if you miss on one of them, you'll time it at half your money. So you'll do a good job with that. Much easier to play fantasy. Actually pretty easy to play with MMA as well, as everything when that comes up. So it's pretty fun to see that going on. Obviously, we got Manscaped, the most fun sponsor to do. If you have that bush down there and the machete's not working, you need to get that. You need to get it working. So go to manscaped.com, use the code 5RSN, get a 20% discount. I think you also get free shipping with that as well. But they got the Lawnmower 3.0. It has a little light. So if your shower is a little bit dark, if one of the bulbs are out and you're too lazy to change it, go ahead, use that. You got the little bit of light. If you need, you got the little ball toner. If your ball's getting wrinkly and, you're getting old, you're in your 40s or your 50s, or, you just want to have some nice smooth balls, use the ball toner. And then they got the ball deodorizer as well. We're not going to talk more about sweaty balls. We talked enough about that last time. But if you got sweaty balls, which I'm pretty sure everybody who lives in Florida in this global warming climate has, go ahead and get your ball deodorizer. So go to manscaped.com, use the code 5RSN, get 20% off. We got bestever.com, live sports simulation betting. That's another one we have. What else do we have? Am I missing anything?
You can just do Manscaped again, honestly.
Oh, MyBookie. Yeah, use mybookie.ag, use promo code 5. They'll help you out on the deposit as well. If you're more in traditional betting, minus 200, everything like that, over, unders, that's a great way to bet as well. So, betting is great right now. It's pretty phenomenal how great the betting landscape is growing, because there's just so many ways to bet, especially with like guys like MyBookie and then guys like Prize Picks. So, fun way to bet. Did I hit everything there?
We're saying safe cubbies.
Safe cubbies.
Yeah.
Safe cubbies. Obviously, when that COVID era, if your school or your business, anything like that, needs a safe place to put all your handles, your purse, your wallet, anything you want to keep in there, safe cubbies. Find them out, Google them, find them on Safe Cubbies. They'll help you make sure you get your storage right. Anything else I'm missing?
The chat really wants us to do balls again. Listen, guys, if you look anything like Jonathan and I, and you were born with more hair than a gorilla, you need the Lawnmower 3.0. Shave your balls. Manscaped.
True.
Your balls will thank you.
I guess this is my last thoughts. I don't know if you were going to ask for them. I'll be very impressed if we can keep Trae Young quiet for another game.
Yeah.
If we can keep him under like 25, I think his average is 26 on the year. I would be very impressed with that. I would be very, very impressed.
I loved what we did tonight with him. That was really, really impressive. If we can do that 2 games in a row, like you said, dude, that's going to show not only do we have defensive, upside with this group we have, but that Coach Spo can scheme almost any player out of a game. And he does a great job of cutting the head off of the snake when we're playing a team with just one big star. So it's fun to see what Coach Bo will do next game with a little bit of time to adjust. So Manscaped, some dude Evo Nets raid. That's funny. When was the last time Nets have won anything? I don't think they've ever won anything, right? Probably not going to win this year anyways, too, because they give up like 200 points a game. So that's fun.
I respect the Nets. I would love to play them in the playoffs. It'd be a fun-ass series.
I don't fear the Nets.
Yeah, 100%. They don't, we almost beat them without Jimmy, I think it was, right?
Without Jimmy, and I think maybe
I don't
without
read
Braun.
too much
I don't
into
remember.
regular season. We'll see what happens in the playoffs.
Anyways, Ricky's right. We got to stop acknowledging the trolls.
Yeah. All right. So thank you everybody for watching the post-game show. Make sure you guys shave your balls. Thanks Gad, thanks Ariel. Appreciate you guys coming in. And as always, I want to thank everybody in the chat, everybody who hit up the super chat for coming in. You guys are the reason that 5 Reasons is, not only the network it is, but it's also like a group, as a family. Everybody that comes in here, we kind of have a same mentality of how we approach this team. We bring different perspectives, so it's really fun to interact with you guys. Thank our producer Alejandro. Thanks Manny as always for coming in. He's taking his birthday trip right now. Happy birthday, Manny! And thank you guys for a great game by the Miami Heat. And we'll see you guys on the next pregame show for the Hawks Tuesday.
And the postgame show.
Shave your ball.
Man.